PSG are winning the Champions League. It is PSG that will get rewarded for being against the Super League back in 2021. Only three clubs were against: Dortmund, Bayern, and PSG. Those are the only clubs to originally be against the Super League. PSG didn't wage war with UEFA. It also helps that Qatar and Nasser al-Khelaifi had a TV contract with beIN Sports to air games in the Champions League, but they were against the Super League, and UEFA is going to award PSG by giving them the Champions League. Last year, he said the Super League will never exist. The expanded new format creates more excitement and competition. Back in 2021, Paris Saint-Germain holds the firm belief that football is a game for everyone, said Nasser al-Khelaifi. I have been consistent on this since the very beginning. As a football club, we're a family community whose fabric is our fans. There's a clear need to advance the existing UEFA competition model presented by UEFA, concluding 24 months of extensive and collaborative consultation across the whole European football landscape. We believe that any proposal without the support of UEFA, an organization that has been working to progress the interests of European football for nearly 70 years, does not resolve the issues currently facing the football community, but is instead driven by self-interest. Paris Saint-Germain will continue to work with UEFA, the European Club Association, and all stakeholders of the football family based on the principles of good faith, dignity, and respect for all. And of course, the presidents of UEFA and FIFA have heavily criticized the Super League project. This was back in 2021, and Inter were a part of the original clubs that were behind the Super League. Those were all of the founding members of the Super League, and many dropped out days later. But those were the only three that were invited to the Super League but decided not to join. Man City was the first to withdraw from the Super League. They were the first to withdraw from the Super League. They did win the Champions League a couple years later. Then all the English clubs followed: Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, and Tottenham, and then Chelsea, the last to withdraw after, and they were like one of the first to talk about leaving the Super League, and then Chelsea won the Champions League that year. They were indeed the first team to confirm their withdrawal from the proposed Super League, and as a result, they won the Champions League that year. And they were preparing to be the first team to withdraw from the Super League. And they did end up winning the Champions League. So PSG were never part of this Super League. They never accepted the initial invitation, and PSG will be well rewarded by UEFA in the final against Inter. Atletico Madrid, and basically the rest of them, they just followed the lead of all the English clubs. And then everyone else, and then UEFA threatened Juventus with a European ban, and Juventus withdrew, but they didn't threaten Barcelona or Real Madrid. So, these UEFA pricks out there, they're always going on about Juventus just because Agnelli, godchild, a goddaughter, whatever, of Alexander Seferin, he's a prick because The leading mastermind is Florentino Perez, but yet it's all lip service. Real Madrid still won the Champions League, but under the new format, it is PSG that are going to win. European Club Association, who's the president. Nasser al-Khelaifi was against the Super League. It is PSG, under the first year, under the new format, is going to win the Champions League. And this was all under his leadership. And so PSG are going to be well rewarded by improving the UEFA under the new format that gets rid of the boring group stage. That itself makes the Champions League kind of like a Super League. You can play Juventus can play Man City, they can play a German club, they can play a Spanish club. You see, I think we're kind of on our way to having kind of a Super League already under this new format, including a two-legged playoff, more matches.